Okay. So we are live now.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hello to the viewers of Fashion Lifestyle Magazine and Business Networking Platform. Welcome, everybody, to this show called No Heavens Have Fallen Down. And I think no guesses in making out the name. What do we mean by No Heavens Have Fallen Down? The COVID-19 crisis, Corona times for the last more than 1 month. Almost 90% of the world is inside their houses. They are trapped within their houses. So there is obviously a lot of uncertainty about the businesses, about how things are going to go forward. अब क्या होगा, आगे क्या होगा, इतने दिन बंद हो गया, बिजनेस ठप हो गया, सब कुछ लुट गए, बर्बाद हो गए. So we were noticing a lot of negativity, which was a very natural outcome of being at home, because nobody in their lives have ever seen a time like this where you are forced to, it's like a house arrest for everybody, for the whole world. There is a house arrest, so it's an unprecedented situation. So such feelings are natural. And the aim of this show, as you all know, we have been doing it for the last few days now. The aim of this show is to pick up a representative of any sector and discuss that no heavens have fallen down. कोई लुट गए, बर्बाद नहीं हुए. जहां आपने, जब आप वापस काम पे आएंगे, when you go back to your work, you will be able to join the broken pieces together and start off, and maybe, who knows, start off in a bigger way. India is going to, let me tell all our BNP and Fashion Lifestyle followers and viewers, that India will become a bigger superpower than China, who knows, even America and Europe, because those countries are in terrible shape. So India is the next place to go to, and this is the whole objective of the show. That there may be a temporary disruption, because obviously you've been home for 1 month, लोग काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ ठप पड़ा है. तो जब बहुत दिन तक गाड़ी भी बंद हो जाती है तो उसको स्टार्ट करने में वक्त लगता है. It may take some time to start, but you will be back on track. We are very fortunate to have Mr. Ashish Parnami with us. He's the founder and CEO of AB Advisors. He runs a luxury real estate, although I'll ask him to give a very brief introduction, a little more detailed introduction of himself. But he deals, so that I know, he deals in luxury and trophy homes, luxury real estate, and commercial spaces. Very, very useful and very relevant and very, very prominent commercial spaces. So he's got that boutique real estate business. He's not like any other property dealer, neighborhood property dealers that we see, जो लोग दिन भर कमाते हैं, शाम को बैठ के टेबल पे टांग रख के और दारू पी लेते हैं. He comes from a different league altogether. This is the kind of property agents, this is the kind of property advisors who people look for. People look for these, but eventually, because you end up going for your smaller properties, you have to go to your local guy. उनके पास एक रजिस्टर पड़ा होता है, उसमें वो आपकी प्रॉपर्टी का नाम लिख देते हैं. माइंड यू, आशीष is in a different league. So Ashish, off to you now. A very brief introduction of yourself, and then
Sure.
I'll ask a few easy and few difficult questions.
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me over for this discussion. I think it's a great thought. It's much better to actually mull through the numbers, go under the skin, and maybe before forming a strong opinion about the
Yeah.
situation. And let's not really give in to maybe the kind of maybe rumors that are mulling these days. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ashish Parnami. I possess around 20 years of experience across private banking and real estate, having worked with globally reputed organizations in leadership roles. I run a boutique real estate advisory at the moment by the name AB Advisors, advising my clients on luxury residences, commercial assets, distressed assets, and as well as international properties. So I completely agree to you, Sharad, what you mentioned, because I do see great opportunities in adverse conditions, and with China being losing its plot and the world is watching. I do see India standing strong, and the winds of change are totally. It's like there's a famous saying: either you make windmills or you completely make houses and stay inside. So we are here to
Fantastic.
make windmills during these winds of change, and I'm completely with you on this particular thought, and I really appreciate it. Yeah.
And if you see the title of the show today, which we do under the title "No Heavens Have Fallen Down," it says how luxury real estate and quality commercial spaces remain immune to corona or corona type crisis. Let me just, और भी कोई चाइना मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहा है आगे, तो हम उसको भी डिस्काउंट कर देते हैं, कर ले वो जितना एक्सपोर्ट करना है, हालांकि आई डोंट थिंक इट विल बी एबल टू
Right.
एक्सपोर्ट द वे इट यूज्ड टू डू अर्लियर. So,
Yeah.
the thought came that luxury, when we
Yeah.
talk of luxury, let's talk of a house. For example, let's take a residential property of
Sure.
2 crores, 3 crores. There is a
Yeah.
property which is 20 crores, 25 crores. Now, the league
Sure.
of people who buy these kind of properties, I'm talking of the luxury or super luxury, we're talking of 200, 300 crores also. The league of people is different. These are the people जिनको अपनी livelihood की चिंता नहीं है. They are not worried कि हमें हमारी नौकरी, हमारा बिजनेस ठप हो जाएगा, मेरे पास खाने को नहीं रहेगा. They are not that खाने को वाला people. These people always have funds, surplus funds, I would say allocated funds. They
Yeah.
know where their life is heading towards. They know their expectations from life. They know what is to be done to maintain their status in the society, come what may. So
Yeah.
we felt that luxury properties and quality commercial spaces, that is where the word immunity came. Although there is no vaccine for corona, but this particular segment is vaccinated from corona. That was the whole thought. So
Sure.
do you Ashish agree? If yes, what is the logic behind that?
Yeah, so I think instead of just saying yes to this, let me just take you to the a little behind here, because I think the
Yeah,
real definition of luxury residences underwent a little change in last 10 years.
yeah,
When we look at the world, I think people used to talk about sea-facing mansions and cliff-hanging homes as luxury
yeah,
homes and
yeah,
luxury
yeah,
residences.
yeah,
It all started with properties like, say, One Hyde Park in London and 157 in New York and Roppongi
yeah,
Hills in Japan.
yeah.
That people came up with a real thought, and the change and the definition started drifting away, and it started changing.
Mm-hmm.
So today, when we talk about our luxury residences, we look at integrated lifestyle complexes.
Mm-hmm.
These are complexes where the first and foremost is the concept itself that came in foray of having all at one place. When I say all at one place, the five elements of real estate, which comprises of, say, retail,
Yeah,
offices, hotel,
yeah,
homes, and your
yeah,
parks, your greens.
yeah, yeah,
So these concepts, and it became a rage after that. People started
yeah,
realizing the fact that, look, gone are the days of those luxury homes, and this
yeah.
is this kind of a property where hotels, the big daddies of hotels, also got into this particular area, which is luxury residences, and they started rolling out the branded residences across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
India is no far. So we
Yeah,
saw how in last, I think, around 7 to 8 years, we saw this influx of such properties coming in into India. If I
yeah,
today look at maybe top 7 to 8 cities of India, and if I pinpoint the supply and coming up of these luxury residences today, define the luxury residences segment, the top niche market out there on the top.
yeah.
Uh, this comprises of branded residences, at the same time non-branded residences, but the core doesn't change. The core
Mm-hmm.
still remains here. So these are the so look at why I'm defining, because let's now look at the kind of maybe the supply side. Now these
Yeah.
kind of properties firstly are getting conceived and curated by top real estate developers who have the
Mm-hmm.
financial muscle, who have the bandwidth, who are the leaders of this industry, who understand the kind of maybe overall capital that is required, who have
Mm-hmm.
the access to organized capital, who have the access to PE funds, who are more disciplined in terms of financial closures, who know how to pump in equity, how to leverage out of banks, how to actually get a financial closure done and not depend on the sales velocity overall, to ensure
Yeah.
that yes, justice is done. That's
Yeah.
the supply side. Now, where is the demand? I mean, how is it that we all believe? Since I've spent years and decades in this particular industry, I can quote it freely, saying that
Yeah.
there's a favorable demand supply gap in this particular top niche of the market, wherein we
Mm-hmm.
see a supply being completely skewed towards one
Mm-hmm.
side and demand is high. Demand, why? Because I think the number of HNIs are growing in India. When we look at maybe the changing lifestyle is happening, there's a term called global citizens today.
Yeah.
We all want our wives and children to grow up in an environment which is quite conducive, where
Yeah.
neighborhood plays an important role,
Yeah.
where you could be proud of your neighborhood, where you can just walk to maybe, so it's walk to work kind of an
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere. So the super
Mm-hmm.
rich of India today are also undergoing a little change in their mindset towards buying a home, which
Yeah.
is more of a statement today. The address value,
Yeah.
you can't, it's not about brick and mortar anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
much more than that. So
Yeah.
now, given these kind of basics clear on the table, now we can
Yeah.
actually judge that why is it that look, the line has always been a straight line, irrespective of markets going haywire. Why? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think now, on one side, suppliers and the sellers have the
Mm-hmm.
bandwidth to hold on to the asset.
Yeah.
It's not really a price elasticity, because we have seen in past also it doesn't work. So they are
Yeah.
not going to bring the prices down or get worried, press the panic button. No, the sellers are going to stay strong, and you can see a rigid straight face from the seller side. That's
Mm-hmm.
one. Demand, it is not an investment purely, it is not a financial thing. It is more to do with, when we look at the buyers, like you just mentioned, that look, they are, the moment you get into the shoes of a super rich guy, it is to do with his personal wealth, it is to do with his family happiness, it is to do
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
maybe making a statement, it is to
Yeah.
do with, standing out and telling the world that look, I've arrived in life. So
Yeah.
it is this expense which is totally different than any other expense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
see a continuity of going of demand, and I think I would really, I think the other way around, that look, I see an advantage, because the super rich today, the environment is absolutely going to be completely, I would say, in a little, shaky situation overall, when we talk about maybe various industries, trying to come back and press the throttle once again. So these super rich, they are going to be in a position wherein, they would have access to softer interest rates. I do see the time frame lingering on a little. Why? Because now they would say, suppose I'm a buyer, wherein I was eyeing a particular, luxury residences as a home for me, which was to come to me in say 2 years. But we all
Mm.
know there's going to be a supply disruption and a little delay. Why? Because labor
Yeah.
is going to
Yeah.
take time to come back to work at the ground. We are going to see, imports getting curbed. We are going to see the supply getting disrupted.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see that they would get more time, though they would be favorable payment plans. They can now buy time. They can get the interest rates are down, so they can get the leveraging done at a much softer rate.
Yeah.
Uh, they won't really get shaken up. In fact, this is a time where people sitting on fence also would take a call. So I see
Mm.
a regular normal life going forward, given the kind of maybe the definition of this particular product itself. So that's the kind of thought I have, maybe to add on to this particular kind of scenario.
Fantastic. So this can probably open up where people would like to look at more quality life, having gone through all this stress. And I think you're right. The super rich would want to, their family to be more settled. When you're looking at social distancing, I would rather like to have a sprawling house which is located in, for example, in Delhi, in Prithviraj Road, or probably a golf links where you don't have neighbors brushing shoulders in those smaller places. Having said that, there could be smaller places which are still, trophy homes. I would want you to just to define what do you specifically mean by a trophy home, because there are, let me just tell you, Ashish, that we have thousands and thousands of followers on these two platforms where we are going live today.
Yeah,
We have particularly invited, they have asked us not to disclose their names, but we have
sure.
particularly invited some of the people who
Yeah,
are likely to be in that category, nearing that category, bordering that category, or
sure.
they are in touch with some of these people. Because the population of these people, Ashish, you would agree, nobody would
Yeah,
know better than you. It's not
yeah.
a very huge population. You have a very niche,
Right,
very select group
right.
of people. So there are these people watching us. So for the sake of them, just to help them reconcile the definition they have in their minds, what do you mean by a trophy home?
Yeah, so trophy home, going by the definition, which is a global definition today, firstly, home is not just the place where we live. Today, the definition or maybe the essence of home is changing. By calling a particular place as trophy homes, the same parameters, maybe, what I just mentioned, by staying in a home at a particular address, when you flash the particular address itself, it talks about the person you are.
Yes,
So today,
yes.
I think it is more about your social standing. It is more about your financial standing. It is more about a statement property. So the moment we talk about a trophy home, now trophy homes we have seen in past. If I look at last 2 3 decades, also they have given geometrical returns because of the kind of maybe the pull power, the demand power that particular property starts possessing. Times
Yeah,
are
yeah.
changing. Like I mentioned, I think in last 10 years, the definition of luxury homes changing, and the concepts coming in together. So the trophy homes are homes which basically fall at the top of the kitty here, which is nothing but a trophy on your head stating that, look, this is something which is the future ready homes. These are homes
Yeah.
where you actually call it that, look, you are a part of the world today. Look, India is
Yeah.
there on the world map today in a big way. So these are the trophy homes which match that particular criteria, which maybe a person
Yeah.
sitting in New York also is defining it in the same way. Which is what
Yeah.
is it that these trophy homes have common parameters? Great architecture, which is global architecture. So
Mm.
artisanships, designs, the elements of, going back to the fundamentals of World Heritage Organization initially when they came up with this, with about 100 properties initially,
Yeah.
37 came out of India, right? So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
somewhere down the line in the last 30 years lost that particular thing. But the moment now we look at a trophy home, we talk about density, we talk about the natural sunlight coming in, we talk about maybe volume coming in, we talk about panoramic views, we talk about maybe the air circulation, the basic fundamentals, right? Then we
Yeah.
talk about maybe the quality of life, which is about the world-class clubhouses, amenities, including, say, today, times are changing wherein we want, our kids to grow up in an environment which is completely full of fresh air. That
Yeah.
itself is something which is coming in as a parameter today. So a trophy home is defined today a home wherein you actually stand by it. It talks about you instead of you actually flashing that out. So the
Yeah.
trophy home completes the fundamentals. It is not without the fundamentals of light, it is not without architecture, design, all that is given, but it starts talking about you as a person out in the world, and it starts carrying your particular personality out there. So trophy homes have always have intrinsic value. It has always shown geometrical kind of progression when we look at last 3 decades in the world. So today we have examples that, like I mentioned about, say, 157 or One Hyde Park or maybe Rupongi Hills or maybe such properties, like which are, we have such kind of maybe properties in Mumbai as well today. So we are looking at, like you mentioned about Prithvi Raj Road. It's not about brick and mortar at all. So
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
places where you start talking about your own self. So that's,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
per me, I think to an extent it's the essence which I wanted to come in near to you,
Yeah.
of defining trophy homes, which I believe is, covers everything and everything put together in a packet.
Exactly. I completely agree. And where the house, basically what Ashish is trying to convey, where the house makes a statement of who you are, how deep is your pocket, where do you stand in the society. I think you don't have to do the talking. Just send the invite to the person or give the address. This is where I stay. And the best thing, Ashish, about trophy homes now is that where I see a very bright spot in your business. you know I hold a degree from London, and we have an associate office in London as well. And I have been to I have fortunately some of those friends in Kensington Palace, in Grosvenor, around the Grosvenor's house area, in Mayfair in London.
Yeah,
Over the last 1 month, I can give you some good news. They
yeah,
are all planning to relocate to India, because what has happened in places, or probably a Broadway near Manhattan in New York, what has happened, Ashish, is that these places have seen a mayhem actually of this disease. The mortality rate has been much higher than India. I mean, we've been in touch with London literally every day.
yeah,
It's absolute chaos and a very, very strong fear now to stay at these places. So you might have some of the clients coming from Kensington or Grosvenor's
sure,
house, where you're talking of 70 million pounds or 60 million pounds, 50 million pounds, and imagine the kind of bargain you can get here at a
yeah,
fraction of a price of that. So there's a
you're
lot
right.
of business coming your way from. I'm giving you some very, very inside
Sure.
information which may be useful to you.
No,
Uh,
absolutely.
co- coming down to the second part of your
Sure,
USP, I would say, Ashish, commercial spaces, because there's a lot of
sure.
discussion about commercial spaces, because because of Corona, we've been witnessing there's going to be exodus of multinationals from here. There's going to be chaos. People are going to be retrenched, no jobs. So therefore, what will company do with these big commercial spaces, offices, and
Yeah,
being used for other purposes?
sure.
Whereas, again, as we said, that there are these niche places, these good places, this is the right time to look for the bargain, which was probably either beyond your reach or was not in supply at all. Do you agree with this? That this could be the better time for? And let's not forget. Sorry, before you start, let's not forget the hundreds of companies where the government is now involved to relocate them from the hell called Corona. You know what does
Yeah,
Corona mean here? China. I have
China.
renamed China as Corona. So these
Yeah,
companies are going to get relocated from there to here. You can imagine the kind of demand it is going to create. in the times to come? So what is your thought about commercial spaces?
Yeah, so Sharad, I think you rightly said when we look at the dynamics of commercial real estate in India, and when we read through the numbers of last 3 years, 45. When I takes about top, the top 8 cities of India today as a statistics, 45% of office space segment gets occupied by US based MNCs.
Yeah,
30% is occupied by Indian corporate, and
yeah,
25% is rest of the world, Europe and Asia.
yeah, yeah,
Now, my understanding and why we have seen, in spite of the uncertain times that we all saw, global uncertain times of last 3 years, still Indian office segment commercial has done extraordinarily well. In fact,
yeah,
last year 2019 turned out to be one of the most fabulous years. We had about 40 million square feet of office space getting consumed by these giants, which are nothing but these are Fortune 500 companies of the world, majorly the US based, MNCs.
yeah,
When we look at the current scenario, you rightly said, I think China, there are companies like, for instance, I can quote examples of, say, POSCO and Hyundai Steel. They are already in
yeah.
advanced talks with the Indian government today, and they're wanting their base to move from China to India. And
Oh,
there are
there are lots
hundreds
of them. There are lots of them.
yeah, there are hundreds more. So where I see an opportunity is that, look, overall, we as a country are in a position today to offer about sub $1 to $1 kind of a lease rental to ITS organizations, right?
Wow.
So if you get into the shoes of a MNC today, a US based MNC, you know that, look, you find your operating cost. India is a country which is a growing economy. It's going to be a superpower in times to come. Everybody wants their foothold to get widened up in India. So if you look from their perspective, they look at it as an opportunity, as a growing economy, to expand their base irrespective of what is happening across the world. And
Yeah,
thankfully, now, incidentally, I won't really say thankfully because it's a very sorry situation, but the fact is, globally, the liquidity has gone high,
yeah.
global interest rates have come down. So overall, I do see a lot of global money coming into India. I do see a lot of global
Mm.
corporate, moving out of China to India. I see
Mhm.
sustainable growth of US based MNCs to continue with the expansion in India. These are macro level factors. Now, coming down to micro, when I break it down, I think thankfully, once again, in commercial side of business, also with the influx of PE capital coming in, and with the kind of quality architecture and designs coming in, the newer developments and the newer CBD areas comprise of better infrastructure today, comprise
Yeah,
of better architecture today, and comprises of basically grade A office spaces which are completely fitting in the bill of these
yeah.
kind of large corporates looking at India as a destination. They used to always complain about the quality of developments in India in real estate, which is
Mm.
what my point is, that I foresee that changing with the league of developers now, and the kind of developments that they are getting into. It's fabulous. So they are reading through their brains. They are looking at maybe options for, for larger organizations with larger plates without the balls, with the kind of, maybe I can get into the technical nitty gritties, but it's not required here. But my point is that when I look at the macro picture, I think we are ready. We are ready to, invite these kind of multinational corporate to come to India and absorb the space. We are completely ready. We are future ready with the kind of maybe infrastructure we have. Coming and breaking down now, I always believe, with my kind of experience of 20 years, that, look, commercial space always was an opportunity for super rich, because
Yeah,
people who could
yeah.
possess maybe larger floor plates, people who could possess maybe standalone commercial assets and buildings. But the retail investors always used to burn their fingers because they had never used to get access to these kind of quality tenants.
Yeah,
They used
yeah.
to buy into smaller spaces, and they used to struggle with quality of rentals, quality of tenants, continuity of rentals and stuff. So now is a situation with the dynamics changing. I see a lot of participation coming in from retail investors into office segment because of the concept called virtual space, which is coming in
Yeah,
newer markets. The new
yeah.
CBD areas that are coming up in, say, various markets, say the Mumbai extension, or maybe say the Gurgaon extension. We look at maybe the overall scenario and dynamics changing, wherein I do see investors to come in and take position as of now.
Mhm.
We can't really, the fact of the matter is, I do see a little deferment in 2020,
Yeah,
in the kind of maybe overall immediate agreement signing activity, and, because of the
yeah, yeah,
overall
yeah,
policy
yeah,
that we
yeah.
are forcing. But the moment I look at maybe 2021 and further on, which is my mid to long term view, is extremely positive. But at the same time, my advice to my investors is that, look, boss, this is the time to take a position. this is the time to actually look at optimal prices. This is the time to look at maybe steady rental incomes in future. This is the time to actually
Yeah.
absorb and kind of maybe encash on the opportunities. So commercial real estate, if you ask me, I think we are in a favorable position at the moment. We are absolutely bang on. It is the mature investors who today got to read, and the visionaries of today, which Indians are. Thankfully, I think we have seen those leaps and visionaries in last, I think, generations as well. With the kind of money sprint that we have had, as a country, we have seen. So I have my full faith and confidence in Indians. As such, I'm a proud Indian myself. That look, we are visionaries, we are born fighters, we are born absolutely risk takers who knows, but word is cautiously optimistic. We got to be cautiously optimistic, take a bird's eye view, take an informed decision, do your homework right, get the parameters in place, take the right advice from the right advisors, and then move ahead in your life.
Absolutely. I think very well said about commercial spaces. So there could be what you're trying to say is there could be a lull before the storm, because
Yeah.
obviously we've seen an unprecedented era in our lifetimes, which we had never seen before. So obviously there's going to be a major jhatka which came. So
Yeah.
obviously it takes you some time after the jhatka to stand up again and get moving. But I think that time, as Ashish said, if you are a pragmatic, prudent, and a very calculated investor, a sensible investor will always invest when nobody else is investing. So when everybody else is looking the other way, the investor decides to look the other way and gets in, and that is where people make most of their money. Now, coming to the last segment, Ashish, this is about you. That was about general trophy
Yeah.
homes and the luxury real estate, and then commercial. This is about you. So, one question: how much money does one need to have to become a Ashish Parnami customer?
So I think with the kind of experience I hold, like I recently mentioned that about the kind of overall portfolio that I have always managed, it has been the kind of an area which is to do with maybe luxury residences and the commercial assets to do with grade A office spaces.
Yeah.
So when I look at my advisory desk and what the way we actually chopped it out and planned it out
Hmm.
was keeping in mind the millennials today, was to keeping in mind the people who are going to really hop onto the ship now, people who
Yeah.
have not really maybe been there in last 2 decades of my experience. So I somehow decided to actually have a kind of a quick look at the situation and maybe chalk out a kind of a desk, advisory desk, which caters to two segments altogether. One are the seasoned, mature investors who
Hmm.
have tasted the run, who have seen the lull period, who have seen the great going period, and who have seen their journey of ups and downs like a wave, and who are mature, seasoned investors.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they do appreciate my advice, and they have been with me throughout my kind of maybe 22 decades. And so, one is this particular side of business which continues. Where of course when we talk about figures and I'm sure you could make it out, these are figures which are basically the seasoned investors are into almost. The other desk which I've set up, and the other major segment that I really wanted to really do good to them was with the kind of experience I hold. I thought maybe it will be a great opportunity both ways, and a mutual thought that look, these are the millennials. These are people who are absolutely starters. Because I think the concept of saving, investment, and protection needs to be advocated at the right age and at the right time.
Absolutely.
So these are starters who are basically, so they could maybe get onto the to real estate investment with, as small as say about 25, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs kind of money as well.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
this was my thought that look, why not actually look at this kind of an area where where the early bird starters, they could really make money. They could really have some sort of footage and cushion already planned for as you grow in life. I think we all realized a little late in life that look, we really got to be disciplined investors.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a sort of a initiative which was done in good faith, thinking that look, let me do a little pilot thing on this. That let me
Hmm.
just work with the starters and millennials and touch on these kind of opportunities, because I would say my only kind of contribution in this whole process has been because of the experience I possess.
Yeah.
I could, you can differentiate between boys and men by actually picking up and putting your hand on the right opportunity.
Yeah.
Because as advisors, I think what we really bank on is nothing but our past experience of actually reading through the products. So
Yeah.
so having said that, I think especially during tough times, one needs to be really cautious
Yeah.
about picking up the product, about
Yeah.
screening through the supply, about being sure about about working on the risk adjusted returns. So this is where I foresee a very crucial stage of all our lives, because I think we are
Mm.
going through a kind of a period where, like I mentioned before, that we got to be cautiously optimistic. What I mean by it is that, look, we really got to screen through,
Yeah.
read through the
Yeah.
numbers, do a little
Yeah.
financial checks on everybody, what is happening, what is the future, how much is going to be the demand, anticipate the future, be a visionary. And this is where I play a role. So this is who I am. This is my kind of a journey, and this is what actually made me get into the advisory of my own, because I thought maybe, look, I could do more justice to the seasoned investors. At the same time, I think I was getting a little urge to help the millennials get into this kind of a disciplined way of investing.
Lovely, fantastic. I think good to know that probably most of the people were wondering that to be able to become Ashish Parnami's customer, you have to be a very, very rich person, a super rich person, probably having about 1,000 crores or a 2,000 crores in your kitty. Good to know that you are also catering to millennials, and if you permit me to say, you're catching them young, so that
Yeah,
who knows. I mean, a story of a 1,000 crore today
yeah,
started off on a bicycle and started off. I mean, I know n number of them. They started off
yeah.
on a motorbike or a bicycle, and today it's worth 1,000 crores or a 2,000 crores. So it should be kept in mind. I think very, very futuristic, I would say to you, for you to. I was about to say that please do not disregard people having smaller money, because today's smaller money can be tomorrow's real big
Sure.
money. And the way India, take it from me, Ashish, I'm an economist and a business analyst also. I speak on several television channels, and this is my subject. Take it from me that the year 2021 and beyond is India's decade. You will see India becoming a real big economic superpower, and it is going to stun people like China. It is going to stun Europe and even America. You know that how come India suddenly rose to? So I think India's days are coming now, and this is where people like you, who
Yeah,
are showing the right direction to the people who have money, to channelize, advising them correctly. Now, just one final question, because we
yeah.
started slightly late. So, viewers, we are going slightly beyond our time, but we are in the last minute now, because there was some technical issue in the broadcasting. So we are just about to wrap up. One last question, Ashish. How do people reach out to you? Of course, our viewers are going to drop in messages to us, but would you like
Sure.
to spell out your contacts here? You can send it to us
Yeah,
also. We
sure.
will connect them to you. If we get any questions and we get any inquiries, they'll be forwarded to you. But then, would you like to be directly, if you want to invite people to come and meet you, talk to you? You are based out of Gurgaon, so that I know. But if you can please be a little more explicit.
Sure, absolutely. I think I would love to maybe have a one-to-one dialogue with people. I think that's what I have always loved to do. People could you all, ladies and gentlemen, you could reach out to me at 9990084680. That's my number. And yeah, so I think the best way to communicate today is to just pick up the phone and call me for a personalized advice. I think that would be great. And
So
of course,
if there
Sharad,
is,
yeah,
yeah, if there
sorry,
is
yeah,
anybody who's wanting to contact, in case you couldn't catch the number that quickly, we have our team has both Fashion Lifestyle and Business Networking Platform have
right,
Ashish's number. Just drop us your message, and we will straight away pass on the number to you. In case
great.
you could not catch the number, no worries. The show was not meant to make you memorize the phone number. It was meant to educate you that there is something called a property. As I started with the show, I'll wrap up with by saying that although there is no vaccine for corona, yes, agreed, but there are some properties which are vaccinated from corona. उनका जो मर्जी हो जाए, कोरोना कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ पाएगा. वो वैसी की वैसी रहेंगी. Those people will still be on the hunt, and people like Ashish can only help you in locating, placing you at the properties you want, so that your hard earned money, your big money, can be put in the right direction. So lovely having you, Ashish. It was absolutely wonderful listening to you, and I'm sure our some of our viewers were also sending their comments, but it was all they were speaking all the good about you. And I'm sure we're going to get a lot of comments later also if they do come inquiring about you. we will definitely pass them on to you. So wonderful having you on the show. It was very, very
Thank you so
thankful that
much.
you spoke, and we look forward for more opportunities in future where we can connect. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Really appreciate it.
No heavens have fallen down, as is the name
Absolutely.
of the show. कोई
Yeah.
पहाड़ नहीं टूट पड़ा है, लुट गए, बर्बाद हो गए, कुछ ऐसा नहीं हुआ है. Be
Yeah.
positive. This is India's decade. Let me reiterate that. This is
Yeah.
India's decade. There is a storm right now, but this is the and there's going to be a major positive storm later. This is the
Yeah.
lull before the storm. It's a very temporary disruption. जब भी कुछ अच्छा होने वाला होता है, उससे पहले कुछ थोड़ी सी खलबली होती है. आप अगर याद करके देखें अपनी जिंदगी के वो लम्हे, जब आपके साथ कुछ बहुत अच्छा हुआ था, उससे पहले कुछ ना कुछ कशमकश जरूर होती है. This is something like that. So they do stay tuned to No Heavens Have Fallen Down. We've got more guests lined up, very interesting discussions tomorrow, day after. Tomorrow we have the head of tomorrow or day after. The team knows, they will announce. We have the head of Bhutani Group, one of the largest real estate group, coming on to the show to speak about how new real estate development for commercial and residential is shaping up. So there's a lot more. We've got some people from Bollywood also coming up. We've got some people from television industry for your entertainment as well. But the theme would not change. No heavens have fallen down. Stay tuned. All the best. Stay safe. Look forward to stepping out soon as Modi ji gives you a go ahead. Goodbye and take care.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ashish. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.